Ciao. Do you remember what day it is today? Thursday. And do you remember what date it's today? Do you also know why this is a very important day? I hope so. Of course, because of TEDx here. And as well because it's Global Creativity Day today. Did you know that? So I'm very, very honored to share a talk with you about using creativity to go beyond borders. And as Jordi told you, I am trying to give you some insights in my personal life as a creativity professional, some ahas that I got onto when I was discovering how creativity could make my life much more extraordinary. So during my talk, I will share 5, for me personally, very important ahas. Before going to that, I want to dive a little bit deeper into beyond borders. When you look at all those squares, and when I ask you to count the squares, how many squares do you see? Lots. 16, 17, 21. Yes, please? 25. That's great. You are daring to express your thoughts. When we are within our borders, we are counting exactly what's inside the big square. When we take a look a little bit to the right, or for you to the right, for me to the left, we will see some more squares. And the crucial message in this talk is when we are able to look around us, we will see many squares. If the question, how many squares do you see, is crucial for what matters in life. On the ceiling, there are squares. There on the wall, you can find squares. Everywhere are squares if you're able to look beyond your own borders. That's why I took with me those 2 hats. And those 2 hats represent exactly what I try to share with you in this talk. We have the black hat. That symbols a little bit the squares and looking into squares, the serious part of our creativity. And we have the colored hat. And that's the hat that is more curious, wants to look beyond borders and looks the unexpected. And that's what I want to share with my 5 ahas. So my first aha. There he comes. A few years ago, I was in Italy, in the northern part, at the Lago di Orta. Perhaps you have heard about it. A beautiful little lake. And a little village at that lake is Omegna. And when I became aware of that, I knew immediately that the famous company Alessi was there. And Alessi is very famous because of his CEO, Alberto Alessi. And suddenly it came to my mind, wouldn't it be great if I could have a talk with Alberto Alessi? But immediately, kind of thoughts came to my mind. Erik, you don't have an appointment, he doesn't know you, blah, 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 blah. And I was boxed in my thinking. My first aha, perhaps my biggest aha, because it opens up lots of new possibilities, was to separate my thinking. First thinking about ideas, how I possibly could get a connection to Alberto Alessi. And after that, when I have some ideas, making up my mind and drawing out a conclusion to separate my thinking. And so I started thinking about how might I encounter or speak with the famoso Alberto Alessi. And a brilliant, simple idea came to my mind. Erik, just walk in the company and tell them that you would like to speak with Alberto Alessi. And I did. And he gave me 15 minutes. And we talked about creativity and innovation. And when I had heard that talk, I went outside the factory and there was a little shop. And I bought myself this cupolo. every day, when I am preparing myself a delicious cappuccino, it reminds me of making impossible things a bit possible. That's my first. Separate your thinking and look what other kind of ways are possible to encounter the unexpected. Next. When you are able to look for other ideas instead of thinking that things are impossible, my second aha is about thinking a bit more outside the box. A few years ago, we were invited for a wedding party at good friends. We were invited for a whole day, but we didn't know any of the other visitors, of their friends. And I didn't feel very comfortable about it. So I was discussing with my wife, wouldn't it be nice if we could connect to people in the first part of the morning? Yes, that would be nice. How can we connect to those people? So she said, let's start some brainstorming. So I love the creativity of my wife. And we generated some ideas by using techniques and tools like superhero, analogy with nature, and we had fun. We were in a playful state of thinking, and we generated many ideas. And the one we picked out of that was to go to that wedding party. Believe it or not, it's true. We entered the wedding party, both of us, with a broken leg. An artificial one. Imagine what happens. Knock, knock, and we came. Everybody, all visitors, all guests came to us. Can we help you? What has happened? Can you tell me a story? And we could easily connect. So this kind of outside-the-box thinking brings us in lovely situations. So separate your thinking. It's still amazing. It's a few years ago, but still when we are at a birthday party, they are still talking about the broken legs. And this was not on my list, but after 2 hours, it started sweating. And we couldn't stand those broken legs any longer, so we put off our broken legs, and then they were all confused. They really believed our story about the broken legs. But it was not on my list, and the time counts down. Second aha is all about thinking outside the box. Have fun about it. Go beyond your borders and select the things, the ideas that make sense to you, that resonate, and those ideas that resonate to other people as well. A few years ago, I met some people who were studying in Buffalo in the US, and they study for a Master of Science in Creativity. I take my life and my work seriously. When I heard about that, I knew immediately that I would study there. So I did a 2-year program as a Master of Science in Creativity. And what I learned with all the previous experience, and that brings me to the third aha, is that, of course, sometimes ahas are a bit simple, but creativity is much more about brainstorming. Creativity is much more meaningful when you are able to use this kind of fresh thinking in daily conversations with other people, with friends. So, for example, when my sister-in-law came to me at a birthday party and said, Erik, I want to discuss with you something. We are wondering if we want to buy a new house or not. And we really don't know. It came to my mind, interesting. This is something about a solution. So I asked her, Sonja, can you tell me, please, what are the pluses of your new house? Why do you like it? And what are the pluses of the house you have now? What will be possible when you buy the new house, and what will be possible when you stay in your old one? And I asked 4 questions. The third one was, what are the minus? Why don't you like, or why doesn't it fit that much, the new house? And are you able to overcome those? So I was using, in a normal conversation, a kind of creativity technique to help her making up her mind and to draw out her thinking and to worry and to wonder if that new house would be a good decision or not. A week after, she came to me and said, Erik, I talked with my husband and we have decided to buy the new house. So a week before she was confused, and then her mind and their minds cleaned up. And the same, a friend who came to me said, Erik, as you know, I'm married, but I'm not that happy in my marriage. And a new girlfriend, and I don't know exactly what to do. So I asked him, what do you like in her? What can she bring more than the obvious things? Are there some dislikes, and do you agree on those? Can you live with that? So in normal vocabulary, in normal questions, creative thinking has helped me to go beyond the ordinary and look for the extraordinary. So the third aha is weaving those creative thinking and the attitude in normal life. Number 4. Clara. Is Clara in the audience? Clara, not yet. I have to confess, I like to eat meat. And I have to confess as well that my wife is a vegetarian. So when I was invited with a friend in a restaurant with tremendous good entrecôtes, I thought, wow, this entrecôte, that will be mine today. And then I turned the page and I saw a list of pastas, and one of them was a ravioli al cacao. And then it came to my mind, Erik, wouldn't it be great if you do something else than the ordinary? Have you ever tasted ravioli al cacao? No, I didn't. So I decided to provoke myself and to provoke my environment and to do little things in an ordinary way. Just like that silly Citroën cactus you can see there. It's part of my fourth aha. By driving my Citroën cactus every day, I am aware of doing things a little bit different than other people perhaps would do. And bringing this into my conversations, into my interactions, in my connections with others, helps me, and I hope also perhaps the others, to wonder if things can be done in a more extraordinary way, instead of feeling the comfortable zone. I already told you, I just returned from Italy. I was on a conference on creativity. I've met there about 250 people like me, like-minded people about creativity. And we were teaching there how you can help to make your life a little bit more creatively. And what I was doing, and there I'm happy to walk my talk, to do the things as I really love. I show them, and I show them how I live my life a little bit. I live my life by not judging too quickly, by considering alternatives. I started improv classes to postpone my judgment. I started, during the years, much more traveling to Pakistan, Sri Lanka, to the inlands of Spain and Italy, and in 1 month I'm going to the US, because traveling helps me to be aware of different things, to doing things in another way, and to be inspired by other situations. Making connections and imagining how other things can be made possible. The 5th is about living your life creatively, living your life extraordinary, to go boldly, perhaps where no one has gone before. And 3 years ago, I stumbled on this whole stay manifesto. And when you heard Nick talking about his life, he was using also words like this. And they are right from my heart. This whole stay manifesto resonates to me. It helps me to be aware of every day again, using my creative skills to live life in an extraordinary way. In your goodie bag, you will find a little manifesto like that. And I'm very happy to share with you in a few ahas how I am still able and will be able to look at my life in an extraordinary way. Mille grazie, arrivederci.